Imagine a European capital where, in a single glance, you can see the spire of a cathedral, the dome of an Orthodox church, and the minaret of a mosque. This is not a historical fantasy. This is Sarajevo, the beating heart of Bosnia and Herzegovina. For many, its name conjures images of conflict, the spark that ignited a world war, and a brutal siege that shocked the modern world. But to look deeper is to uncover a story of astonishing resilience, of a people who have earned the name, the Jerusalem of Europe. Join us as we explore a land of profound scars and breathtaking beauty and ask what is the true soul of Bosnia and Herzegovina. To understand Bosnia and Herzegovina is to understand the nature of contrast itself. This is not a land of simple narratives. It is a palimpsest, a manuscript where the ink of Ottoman sultans, Austro-Hungarian emperors, and socialist leaders has been scraped away, yet faint traces always remain beneath the surface of the present. Why does this matter? Because here, history is not a static subject confined to books. It is an active presence that shapes every conversation, every stone in the street, and the very soul of its people. This is the country that gave the world the single gunshot that ignited the First World War, an event so monumental it feels almost mythical. Yet it is also the nation that endured one of modern history's most brutal sieges in its capital, Sarajevo, a wound so recent its memory is still a tender, living thing for generations. How does a place carry such weight yet refuse to be crushed by it? The answer lies in its core duality. It is a nation defined by its staggering natural beauty, a seemingly endless expanse of dense forests and pristine water, and simultaneously by an economy still wrestling with the challenges of post-conflict recovery. This creates a fascinating tension, a resilience forged in hardship. The people here possess a unique strength, a capacity to find joy in small moments, and a fierce pride in their complex, shared identity. They are the keepers of a fragile experiment in multiculturalism, a quiet declaration that difference does not have to mean division. But to truly feel its pulse, you must stand in the heart of Sarajevo as the day is born. Before the clamor of the market fills the air, there is a sacred quiet. You can hear the distant, rhythmic tap, tap, tap of a coppersmith beginning his work in the Baščaršija. The aroma of strong, dark Bosnian coffee begins to rise from hidden courtyards. In this moment, the city is not a historical exhibit. It is a living being, slowly stretching awake, its breath a mix of ancient tradition and unwavering life. This morning harmony isn't a denial of the past, it is a testament to survival. It is the proof that beauty can and does grow from the hardest of grounds. The quiet strength you feel in the dawn of Sarajevo is the direct result of the storms it has weathered. And so, to understand the soul of Bosnia today, we must first have the courage to walk through the deepest shadows of its history. To walk through the shadows of Bosnia's history is not a choice, it is an inevitability. For here, the past is not a foreign country. It is the very ground beneath your feet, the air you breathe, the blueprint of the city itself. Our journey begins with the deepest, most foundational layer 4.5 centuries under the Ottoman Empire. This was not a mere occupation, it was a profound cultural terraforming. The Ottomans brought with them not just armies, but an entire civilization. Its faith, its philosophy of commerce, its aesthetic. They wove Islam into the existing tapestry of Christian faiths, creating the complex, multi-religious fabric that would come to define the region. Think of the iconic starry Most in Mostar, or the sprawling Baščaršija Bazaar in Sarajevo. These are not just tourist attractions, they are artifacts of a bygone era, stone and mortar testaments to a time when Sarajevo was a vital trading hub, a bridge between East and West. The Ottomans built the mosques, the public fountains, and the caravanserais that still form the city's heart. This long chapter gave Bosnia a character distinct from its European neighbors, a unique blend of Balkan spirit and Eastern soul. It is a legacy so deeply embedded that its echoes can still be heard in the language, tasted in the food, and felt in the quiet rhythm of daily life. Upon this Ottoman foundation, a new, starkly different layer was imposed. The arrival of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in the late 19th century was like a sudden, sharp change in the weather. They brought with them European classicism, grand boulevards, and a rigid, orderly vision that contrasted dramatically with the organic flow of the Ottoman city. But their most significant contribution to world history was entirely unintentional, born from a single moment of chance and violence. Here, on a street corner, by a bridge named Latin, history held its breath. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was not just a political act. It was a spark thrown into the powder keg of Europe. How could a single act of a young nationalist in a provincial capital plunge the entire world into its first great war? It's because here, the currents of great power politics, rising nationalism, and ancient grievances converged with deadly precision. This single event sealed Bosnia's fate, forever marking it as the place where the 20th century's violent, tumultuous story truly began. Yet, even the cataclysm of World War I would be overshadowed by a conflict far more recent, more intimate, and more scaring. The breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s was not a distant war fought on foreign fields, it was a war of neighbors. The siege of Sarajevo, the longest siege of a capital city in the history of modern warfare, etched itself into the very bones of the city. For nearly 4 years, its citizens lived under a constant rain of shells and sniper fire. Today, the physical evidence remains. Look closely at the facades of buildings. Those are not design elements, they are the pockmarks of bullets and shrapnel. And on the sidewalks, you might see what locals call Sarajevo roses. Mortar shell craters filled with red resin, memorials blooming from the concrete. The decision to leave many of these scars untouched was a deliberate, powerful choice. It is a refusal to plaster over the truth, a silent, daily reminder to the world and to themselves, this happened here. We survived, we will not forget. To understand this spirit of remembrance, one need only stand before the eternal flame, situated at a busy intersection where the main streets of Farhadija and Tito meet. It is a modest, but deeply poignant memorial to the victims of World War II. It is not cordoned off or set in a solemn park. Instead, it is a part of the city's living pulse. Trams rattle by, shoppers stroll past, and friends arrange to meet by the flame. It has burned continuously since 1946, a quiet, constant vigil. Legend has it that it has been extinguished only once, briefly, by accident. But almost immediately, citizens who saw what happened came forward with their own lighters and brought the flame back to life. In that small, instinctive act lies the soul of Sarajevo, a collective, unspoken understanding that some fires, some memories, must never be allowed to go out. These layers of history, Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, Yugoslav, are not neatly stacked. They bleed into one another, creating a city that is simultaneously a monument, a museum, and a wound. But history is never just about empires and wars, it is about the people who lived through them. And so, having walked through the shadows of its past, we must now turn our gaze to the vibrant, beating heart of Sarajevo today. To emerge from the shadows of Sarajevo's history is to step into the brilliant, chaotic, and life, affirming light of its present. The city's beating heart is not found in a government building or a grand square, but in the labyrinthine lanes of the Baščaršija. This is Sarajevo's old bazaar, its soul. To walk here is to engage all your senses. The air is thick with the scent of grilling tayavapi and the sweet smoke of nargile pipes. The sound is a symphony of languages, the chatter of merchants, and the rhythmic, metallic song of coppersmiths hammering intricate designs into plates and coffee pots, a craft passed down through generations. This is not a sterile museum, like Old Town. It is a living, breathing marketplace that has functioned for centuries. It's a place of commerce, of community, of connection. And at its very center stands the cobbled, an ornate, Ottoman-style wooden fountain. It's more than just a source of water, it's a symbol, a meeting point, the city's unofficial town square. Legend says that if you drink from its waters, you are destined to return to Sarajevo one day. In this simple tradition lies a profound truth about the city. It has a way of capturing your heart, of making you promise to come back before you've even left. But the most remarkable aspect of Sarajevo is not something you can easily capture in a photograph. It is an atmosphere, a lived reality. This is the Jerusalem of Europe, and that title is earned on every street corner. Stand in one spot, and within a few minutes' walk, you can find the Gazi Hosrev Beg Mosque, the old Orthodox Church, the Cathedral of Jesus' Sacred Heart, and the Ashkenazi Synagogue. Their proximity is astonishing. It is a powerful, physical rebuttal to the idea that different faiths cannot coexist. For centuries, this has been the norm. The call to prayer, the peal of church bells, the cantor's song. They are not competing sounds. They are simply the diverse voices that make up the city's unique chorus. How is this possible, especially in a region so scarred by religious and ethnic conflict? Perhaps the answer lies in the culture of com-eluk, a concept that roughly translates to neighborliness. It implies a deep, unspoken social contract of mutual respect and shared life, regardless of one's background. Before the War of the 90s, it was simply the way things were. You celebrated Eid with your Muslim neighbors and Christmas with your Christian ones. The war severely tested, and in some places broke, this bond. Yet in Sarajevo, you feel its resilient spirit striving for a return. This coexistence is not a performance for tourists. It is a fragile but determined choice, a daily act of rebuilding trust. It is the city's quiet defiance, its greatest treasure. This brings us to the people themselves. To observe the Sarajevans is to see a study in modern resilience. The youth, in particular, possess a remarkable blend of worldly awareness and an infectious, forward-looking optimism. They carry the weight of their history, but they do not seem burdened by it. To truly understand this, find a small table at any cafe in the Ferhatija pedestrian street. Order a Bosnian coffee, served in a traditional DC's ezva with a cube of sugar loaf. Don't rush it. This is not a drink to be consumed on the go. It's a ritual. Watch the people. You will see young women in the latest European fashions walking alongside women in hijabs. You will see old men playing chess, their faces etched with the stories of a lifetime. You will hear laughter, spirited debate, the easy-going flow of conversation. There's a particular quality to the people here, a sense of style and self-possession. It's a quiet dignity, an unspoken statement that says, "We have endured, and we are still here, living our lives with grace." In the simple act of sitting and sharing a coffee, you become a part of the city's enduring rhythm. The vibrant life pulsating through Sarajevo's streets is a testament to the human spirit's ability to heal and hope. It is a city that feels both ancient and youthful, solemn and full of joy. But this lived experience, this cultural richness, exists within a larger, more complex national framework. To truly grasp the reality of life here, we must now zoom out from the heart of the capital and confront the practical, economic, and logistical truths that shape the daily existence of every Bosnian. The vibrant pulse of Sarajevo's cultural heart beats against a backdrop of stark, unvarnished reality. To move beyond the enchanting core of the city is to engage with the modern Bosnian state on its own terms, where the romance of history meets the friction of everyday life. And the first, most immediate friction for any visitor is the economy. Here, you must understand a fundamental rule: cash is king. This is not a suggestion, it is a law of survival. In a world increasingly dominated by digital transactions, Bosnia remains a bastion of paper and coin. From small bakeries to surprisingly large restaurants in the heart of tourist areas, you will often find that credit cards are not just unwelcome, they are simply not an option. Why does this system persist? It's a window into the country's complex economic landscape. For some businesses, it's a straightforward way to avoid bank commissions and administrative hurdles. For others, it's a symptom of a significant gray economy, a method of operating under the radar of state tax authorities. This isn't necessarily a sinister act, but a pragmatic response to a system that can feel burdensome. For the traveler, it means a constant awareness of the contents of your wallet, a need to plan ahead, to seek out the menjinjatnika, the currency exchange, and to always have enough Bosnian marks on hand. It's a small inconvenience that reveals a much larger truth about the nation's ongoing struggle for economic formalization and stability. This economic reality directly shapes the lives of its citizens. The beauty of the landscape and the richness of the culture exist alongside a sober economic truth. Bosnia and Herzegovina is one of the poorest countries in Europe. The average monthly salary hovers around €700, while the rent for a modest apartment in the capital can easily consume €500 of that. This simple math reveals a daily struggle. It highlights a painful paradox. The country is visually rich, but financially poor. The people you see on the streets, with their impeccable style and sense of dignity, are not necessarily affluent. They are masters of making the most of what they have, a skill honed through generations of making do. This economic pressure is compounded by significant challenges in public infrastructure. The transportation system, for instance, feels like a relic from another era. Sarajevo, despite its size and geographic spread, has no underground metro system. Instead, it relies on a network of trams and trolleybuses that are often decades old, rattling and groaning as they share congested roads with cars. Intercity travel presents similar hurdles, with aging buses and a limited train schedule. This is why many locals who can afford it, and any visitor planning to explore beyond the capital, will tell you that renting a car is not a luxury. It is a necessity. The state of infrastructure, including healthcare and education systems, that are still recovering and rebuilding, is a constant, tangible reminder of the country's difficult journey. It is the lingering aftermath of war and the ongoing challenge of political complexity, a reality that exists just beneath the surface of any tourist's idyllic experience. To truly understand this contrast between appearance and reality, you only need to drive out from the city center for a few kilometers. You'll pass modern, glass-fronted buildings, signs of new investment and hope, but right next to them, you may see a Yugoslav-era apartment block, its concrete facade still bearing the scars of shrapnel unrepaired after 30 years. A new Mercedes might be parked in front of a home where the monthly budget is stretched to its absolute limit. This is not hypocrisy. It is the lived reality of a society in transition. It is a place of immense potential wrestling with a difficult legacy, where signs of progress and neglect often exist side by side on the very same street. This visual dissonance is perhaps the most honest portrait of Bosnia and Herzegovina's current state of being. So, we have a nation of profound cultural depth and challenging economic realities. A place where the experience of the visitor can be both enchanting and frustrating. But there is one final, crucial element to this story that transcends all of these practicalities. It is the very stage upon which this entire human drama unfolds. The country's breathtaking, overwhelming, and defining natural landscape. To understand Bosnia, you must understand the water that gives it its name. The very name Bosnia is believed to derive from an ancient word for water. And to travel through this country is to understand why. It is a land completely defined by water. Not the tamed water of canals or city fountains, but wild, untamed water. It rushes through deep canyons, thunders down dramatic waterfalls like those at Kravica or A Charbat Key Buck, and flows in rivers so impossibly emerald green they seem to defy reality. This abundance of water nourishes a landscape of profound, enveloping greenness. Dense forests carpet the mountains, creating a sense of pristine, untouched wilderness that is increasingly rare in Europe. This is the first side of the coin, the overwhelming beauty and tranquility of the natural world. It offers a profound sense of peace, a quiet space for reflection far from the noise of the world. In this green embrace, it is easy to forget the complexities of history and politics. But then, you flip the coin. This natural paradise is the home of a nation still grappling with its demons. The political situation remains one of the most complex in the world, a delicate, often fragile power sharing agreement born from the Dayton Accords that ended the war. This political intricacy can sometimes lead to stagnation, hindering the very progress the country desperately needs in its economy and infrastructure. And while the streets of Sarajevo are among the safest in Europe, a place where you can walk at any hour without fear, a testament to the character of its people, this personal safety exists within a framework of systemic uncertainty. This is the other side of the coin. The reality of a nation still healing, still searching for a clear path forward, where the beauty of the landscape cannot entirely mask the challenges its people face every day. Consider the act of looking out from the Yellow Bastion, a historic fortification overlooking Sarajevo. As the sun sets, you see the city spread out below, 1,000 lights beginning to twinkle. The evening call to prayer echoes softly from the valley. From this vantage point, the city is a portrait of perfect serenity. The scars, the economic struggles, the political complexities, they all dissolve into the twilight. In this single, breathtaking view, both sides of the Bosnian coin, its immense beauty and its profound resilience, merge into one. It is a moment of pure, unadulterated peace. So, what is the final truth of Bosnia and Herzegovina? Perhaps it is this: it is not a country of easy answers. It is not a perfect postcard. Nor is it a story of unrelenting tragedy. It is a place for the thoughtful traveler, one who understands that a nation's soul is found in its contradictions. It is a land of scars and beauty, of sorrow and indomitable spirit. It may not be the easiest place to live, but it is an unforgettable place to visit. A place that will challenge you, move you, and ultimately, change the way you see the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the heart of the Balkans. If this story moved you, please show your support by liking this video and sharing it with someone who might appreciate its message. Every subscription helps us continue to tell these important stories. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video, where we will dive even deeper into the incredible food and coffee culture that defines life in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Until then, travel safely.